Hey, everybody. Bob Vieira, founder and owner of Universal Short Sales, the country's fastest growing short sale processing company here. Hope everybody's doing great. So I just wrote an ebook for investors and wholesalers based on 5 potential investment strategies you as a wholesaler can pivot to coming into this brand new market that we're entering into. Now, when I say pivot, I don't mean completely abandon your wholesaling strategy you have now. I simply mean keep focusing on your core business model, but pivot into something different and add it. It's almost like a symbiotic business. That's what I'm personally doing. My core business is short sales, but I'm starting to pivot into other things that make sense in the investment world coming into this new market in 2023. So, number one, we're going to talk about short sales. Okay, there's a lot of people right now that are going to be falling behind on their mortgage payments coming into this year. We're already seeing it. Not only are they falling behind on their mortgage payments, but B, a second factor, they are underwater. They're losing equity. Guys, this was an absolutely insane market in most markets of the country that we're coming back from. What's happening is people paid insane prices and those values are starting to come back to reality. As they come back to reality, the people that overpaid, they paid here, the values are slowly coming here. They're underwater. They are losing equity at an alarming rate. So the 2 factors, again, you need to look for in a short sale deal. Number one, they're behind on their mortgage payments, which a lot of people are right now, and more people are getting there. Number 2, they're losing equity in their houses. They are upside down. Property is worth $500,000. They owe $550,000. And then a third factor, a secret factor, I like to call it. A lot of people forget to look for this in a short sale. When you're talking to a seller and they have both of those factors I just mentioned, make sure factor number 3 comes into play, which is they're not motivated by money. Their main motivation instead of money needs to be avoid foreclosure. So that's a short sale. Let's move on to number 2, which is wholesaling pre-foreclosures. Now, these two obviously go hand in hand. All right. The difference between a short sale, it's not a typical pre-foreclosure because they don't have equity. As you start to, now, let me back up. You should be looking for pre-foreclosures right now, bottom line. No matter what market you're in, pre-foreclosures are on the rise. Write that down because it's going to make you money. Pre-foreclosures are on the rise. Whatever market you're in, you need to start to focus and market towards people that are in pre-foreclosure. By definition, a pre-foreclosure is someone who is at least 90 days behind. So that's around 3 months or so behind on their mortgage payment. So the bank slaps a lis pendens against their property. Once that lis pendens hits, they are officially in an active foreclosure. Also, the definition of a pre-foreclosure can be looked at the stage when a bank officially files a motion for foreclosure against the property. So if I'm a homeowner and I fall 1 month behind on my payments, the bank at 1 month, they're going to send warning letters, phone calls, letters, etc., telling me, hey, Bob, we see you fell a month behind here. What's going on? But that's not a pre-foreclosure. A pre-foreclosure are people that are deeper behind on their mortgage payments. So there's different versions of people that are in pre-foreclosure. You'll have some that just got that letter that the bank filed, put the lis pendens against them. And then you'll have others that are deeper into pre-foreclosure to the point where a foreclosure auction date is scheduled or it's about to be scheduled. Guys, these are motivated sellers, either way you look at it. If you're a wholesaler, you need to pivot and start spending some marketing dollars and time and energy on getting pre-foreclosure leads. The best thing about pre-foreclosures, I'll leave you with this, the motivation is baked into the deal, okay? The motivation is baked into the deal. Think about it. As a wholesaler, you want to get on the phone. What's the first thing you're looking for? Motivation. Why does this seller want to sell? Well, in a pre-foreclosure, you already know their pain points and their motivation. It's the simple fact that they're in pre-foreclosure. They're being foreclosed upon. All right. So, all right. So number 2 is pre-foreclosure. What's number 3? We have seller financing. Seller financing. Now, this is something that I'm particularly forcing myself and putting pressure on myself to start to go after seller financing. The amazing part about seller financing is as interest rates start to creep up as they're doing, a lot of buyers aren't able to pay the amounts of money they were just a couple months ago. Example, let's say a person has a property on the market, FSBO, for sale by owner, let's say, and they want $500,000 for it. Well, several months ago, they might be able to get a buyer to pay $500,000. Right now, because the interest rates are going up, America is a consumer society. Therefore, people don't look at interest rates. They look at how much do I have to pay a month? What's it going to cost me a month for this property? And because interest rates are up, it's going to cost them a hell of a lot more monthly to buy that $500,000 property. Therefore, they're going to be able to pay less. This is where you and I come in as the investor and say, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, look, you could no longer get $500K for your property. However, I'll give you the $500K. I'm happy to do that, but I need my own terms. Therefore, you can negotiate the down payment and you can negotiate the interest. You can get a lower interest rate. Seller financing, very powerful. Again, I'm starting to pivot towards seller financing in my own business. Number 4, lease options. Lease options. This is another thing. I'm personally starting to pivot towards this. I took Justin Chamness's course, which is tremendous, and I joined his group, and I'm hyper focusing on adding lease option deals into my current investment model. Lease options, you need to go after them for the same principle as the seller financing. The seller financing, people are getting less for their less money for their property, and in some cases, they're straight up unable to sell the house because of the interest rates. There's just less buyers on the market now. And it's trending towards that way even more. Now, the lease options, same thing. You come in and you're pitched to the seller. Look, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, a couple months ago, you probably would have got this price. I agree with you. It's worth this price, but the market just isn't bearing it anymore because of the interest rates. So in a lease option, you could actually get the homeowner what they're asking, or sometimes even more, because you're selling it for a value in the future. The way a lease option works, essentially is you as the investor, you're going to be the middleman. You're going to bring them a tenant buyer. This tenant buyer is going to bring a non-refundable down payment, which is negotiated. And you're also going to negotiate a rent amount that tenant buyer is going to pay over 12 to 36 month period, whatever you negotiate. At the end of that lease period, the tenant buyer is going to have the option and the right, the first right of refusal to purchase the property at the end of the period. Now, you get paid in the deal at the beginning. When they bring their down payment, you charge what's called a lease option fee. And this option fee is paid from the tenant buyer into your bank account at the beginning of the deal. So it's an option, awesome way to get paid. This is just a creative way to do real estate right now into this market. And option number 5 I talk about in the book is a sub-2. Sub-2 is becoming more and more popular these days. We all hear it thrown around on social media, etc. Sub-2 is purchasing the property subject to the existing mortgage. So if the mortgage balance is $200,000, you as the investor are assuming that $200,000 mortgage, but it stays in the seller's name. You're just making the mortgage payments on that $200,000 mortgage. In addition to that, you are getting the deed of the property transferred into your name. So you're taking title like you typically would. The difference is the mortgage stays in the seller's name and you're responsible to pay it. The cool thing about sub-2s, if you negotiate a good enough of a sub-2 deal, you could actually wholesale the sub-2 deal. So you could lock the terms in, get the property under contract, and then wholesale that to an end buyer. So that's an awesome way to buy property coming into this market in 2023. All right, guys, quick recap. 5 investment strategies you need to pivot into it to 20. By the way, there's way more than this. This is just the 5 that I wrote about in my ebook to investors and wholesalers. Number 1, short sales, which I personally love. I own Universal Short Sales. Love short sales. Number 2, wholesaling pre-foreclosures. You need to go after pre-foreclosures ASAP. They're out there and there's more and more coming on the market. Number 3, seller financing, which I'm forcing myself to do. I mentioned before. Number 4, lease options. You could either stay in the deal as a sandwich lease option, or you could wholesale the lease option like Justin teaches us to do. And number 5, sub-2 deals, purchasing the property subject to the existing mortgage in place. I hope this information helps. Please click the link, subscribe, follow me. I'm always posting stuff like this, guys. We're posting real estate trends, real estate opportunities, strategies in order to invest in properties, and different types of distressed real estate news that's applicable to all of our businesses. Again, I'm Bob Vieira, owner of Universal Short Sales, the country's fastest growing short sale processing company. We will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.